Have you ever met a woman who just by walking into a room made the entire world question itself? What is it about her that's both magnetic and unsettling at the same time? She doesn't need to say a word, doesn't need makeup or expensive clothes, doesn't need to smile to please someone or lower her voice to avoid being a bother. She simply exists, but in that existence, something ancient and primal awakens in the masculine psyche. There's a whisper, "This woman sees through me. She knows who I really am beneath all my masks." Here's what Jung discovered that the world tried to bury. This isn't about intimidation. This isn't about power over others. This is about a woman who has completed the most dangerous journey known to the human soul. She has met herself in the darkness and decided to stay. She doesn't demand, doesn't fight for things. She just exists. And that's the most storm-creating presence of all. Tonight, we descend into Jung's most forbidden territory, the psychology of the woman who has integrated her shadow, who has stopped performing femininity and started embodying it from a place so deep, so authentic, that it reshapes reality around her. Carl Jung wrote, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Most women spend their lives running from this terror. But the woman who walks through it, she emerges as something the world has no category for. She becomes the integrated feminine, the woman who has alchemized her wounds into wisdom, her pain into power, her silence into the deepest kind of speech. And men can sense this transformation from across a crowded room. It calls to something in their souls they've forgotten existed, and simultaneously terrifies the parts of them that are still hiding. This is her story. This is her emergence. But more than that, this might be your initiation, but that's just the beginning. At a deeper level, what really terrifies men when they stand before her gaze? The first thing that unsettles men about this woman is how she looks at them. Not with desire, not with judgment, not with the practiced smile of someone trying to be liked. She looks at them like she can see their soul, because she actually can. Pause for a moment. Place your hand on your heart. Think about the last time someone truly saw you. Not the you that you present to the world, but the you that exists when you're alone with your thoughts. You see, when a woman has done the work of meeting her own shadow, every rejected part, every hidden shame, every unlived dream, she develops what Jung called the transcendent function, the ability to hold paradoxes, to see both light and dark, to witness without the need to fix or change or turn away. Sarah discovered this after her world collapsed. 20 years of marriage ended when she found the emails. 20 years of being the perfect wife, mother, supporter of everyone else's dreams. "I thought I would die," she told me, "but instead, I finally started living." In the ruins of her old life, she had to face everything she'd been avoiding. Her rage, her desires, her voice, the wild woman she'd locked away to be acceptable. And when she emerged from that underworld journey, something had fundamentally changed in how she moved through the world. Men would approach her with their usual scripts, the charming lines, the practiced personas, the masks they wore to get what they wanted. But she would just look at them, really look, and something in that gaze would crack them open. "I wasn't trying to intimidate anyone," she said. "I just couldn't pretend I didn't see what I was seeing anymore." Pause. Place your hand on your heart and ask yourself, when was the last time someone truly saw you? Share in the comments. When have you felt truly witnessed? The mirror bearer doesn't judge what she sees. She simply sees. And in a world full of people desperately trying to hide, being truly seen can feel like both salvation and terror. She doesn't need to prove anything. She just exists. and that existence is the clearest mirror of all. But there's something deeper happening here, something that leads us to the next emergence. The second way this woman unsettles the masculine is through her mastery of the most powerful word in any language. No, not the apologetic, "No, sorry, I wish I could, but," that most women have been trained to offer. But the sacred, "No." Clean, clear, complete. Jung understood that individuation, becoming who you truly are, requires what he called the withdrawal of projections. You stop being what others need you to be and start being who you actually are. For women, this often begins with learning that no is a complete sentence. I watched this transformation with Maria. She used to say yes to everything, every request, every demand, every guilt trip. She was drowning in other people's needs while her own dreams gathered dust. Then life forced her hand, a health scare that left her with limited energy. Suddenly, she couldn't say yes to everything anymore. She had to choose. And in that choice, she discovered something revolutionary. People didn't stop loving her. They started respecting her. "I thought setting boundaries would push people away," she said. Instead, it brought the right people closer. The boundary keeper understands something that terrifies men who are used to women who disappear into their needs. Her energy is not free. Her time is not unlimited. Her attention is not a given. She has learned to be selective, intentional, protective of her own life force. And when a man encounters a woman who values herself this highly, it forces him to level up or step away. There's no middle ground with the integrated woman, no half-hearted effort, no taking her for granted. Close your eyes, place your hand on your heart, and ask yourself, where in your life are you giving your energy away freely? What would change if you started treating your time, attention, and presence as sacred? Share in the comments. What boundary do you most need to set? She doesn't need to explain why. She just needs to exist in her fullness. But the boundary keeper's power isn't just in what she refuses. It's in what she chooses to embrace. This brings us to the third emergence that unnerves men is her relationship with silence. This woman has learned to listen, not just to words, but to the spaces between words, to the things that aren't being said, to the energy beneath the surface. She's comfortable and quiet. She doesn't rush to fill uncomfortable silences with chatter. She doesn't smooth over tension with forced lightness. She can sit in the space of not knowing and be at peace. Jung wrote, "Your vision becomes clear when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." The wild listener has awakened. She spent time in the depths of her own psyche. She's learned to hear her own inner voice above the noise of the world. She doesn't fear the depths, because she's been to the deepest places within herself. And this creates a presence that's absolutely magnetic and absolutely terrifying. Elena discovered this during her year of solitude. After her divorce, instead of immediately jumping back into dating, she chose to be alone. Really alone. No constant texting, no dating apps, no desperate search for someone to complete her. "I had to learn to enjoy my own company," she said. "To hear my own thoughts without needing someone else to validate them." She took long walks in silence. She journaled. She meditated. She learned to be present with her own emotional storms without needing someone else to calm them. When she finally re-entered the world of relationships, everything was different. Men would start talking to her and find themselves saying things they'd never said before, sharing thoughts they usually kept hidden, opening up in ways that surprised even them. "I wasn't doing anything," she insisted. "I was just listening." But it wasn't passive listening. It was the deep, soulful listening of someone who has learned to hear herself. Someone who isn't waiting for her turn to speak or planning what to say next. She was fully present. And presence is the rarest gift in our distracted world. Place your hand on your heart and ask yourself, when was the last time someone truly listened to you without trying to fix, advise, or judge? How did that feel? And more importantly, when was the last time you truly listened to yourself? Share your experience below. She doesn't need to fill the gaps. She is the gap, the sacred space where truth can emerge. The wild listener doesn't fear the depths of conversation or emotion. She's been to her own depths and survived. But there's something even more unsettling about her. The fourth way this woman disrupts the masculine psyche is perhaps the most threatening of all. She has made peace with her darkness. Every woman carries what Jung called the shadow. All the parts of herself she's been taught to reject. The anger, the wildness, sexuality, the ambition, the selfishness, the rage. Most women spend their lives trying to be good, pushing these aspects into the unconscious, denying they exist, presenting only the acceptable face to the world. But the integrated woman, she's gone into the underworld and retrieved these lost pieces of herself. She's learned that her anger isn't something to be ashamed of. It's information about her boundaries. Her sexuality isn't something to hide. It's life force energy. Her ambition isn't unfeminine. It's creative power. Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." The shadow dancer has made her darkness conscious, and this creates a wholeness that's absolutely magnetic. Rebecca told me about her shadow work. For years, she'd been the sweet, accommodating girlfriend. Never raised her voice, never caused conflict, always put everyone else's needs first. "I thought I was being loving," she said, "but really, I was afraid." When her relationship ended, she was forced to confront all the anger she'd been swallowing, all the resentment she'd been denying, all the parts of herself she'd been rejecting to be acceptable. It wasn't pretty. She raged, she grieved, she felt things she'd never allowed herself to feel. But on the other side of that dark night of the soul, something beautiful emerged. A woman who could be soft without being weak, strong without being hard, loving without being self-sacrificing. "I stopped being afraid of my own power," she said. And that changed everything. When she started dating again, men could sense the difference immediately. She wasn't trying to be perfect anymore. She was trying to be real. And real life is infinitely more attractive than perfect. Pause, close your eyes, place your hand on your heart and ask, what aspect of yourself have you been trying to hide or fix? What would happen if you stopped seeing it as your enemy and started seeing it as your power? Let us know in the comments. What shadow aspect are you ready to reclaim? She doesn't apologize for her complexity. She celebrates it because wholeness includes everything. But the shadow dancer's integration leads to something even more profound. The fifth emergence that fundamentally challenges men is her relationship with solitude. This woman is not afraid to be alone. She's not desperately seeking someone to complete her, validate her, or save her from herself. She's learned to be her own companion, her own lover, her own best friend. This isn't because she doesn't want a partnership. It's because she's discovered something revolutionary. She is already whole. Jung called this individuation, becoming an individual, indivisible from yourself. The woman who has achieved this doesn't need a relationship. She chooses it. And there's a world of difference between needing and choosing. When Anna's long-term relationship ended, her friends immediately started trying to set her up. "You need to get back out there," they said. "You can't be alone forever." But Anna had a different plan. She was going to learn to enjoy her own company, to create a life so rich and fulfilling that partnership would be a gift, not a necessity. She traveled alone. She ate at restaurants alone. She went to the movies alone. She decorated her space exactly how she wanted it. She pursued her interests without compromise. "I fell in love with my own life," she said. And that changed everything about how I showed up in relationships. When she finally did meet someone, it wasn't because she was lonely or desperate or seeking completion. It was because she had so much life flowing through her that she wanted to share it. The sovereignty holder understands something that many people never learn. You cannot give what you do not have. If you don't love yourself, you can't truly love another. If you don't enjoy your own company, you can't truly enjoy someone else's. Her self-sufficiency isn't threatening because it's cold or rejecting. It's magnetic because it's whole. Take a deep breath, place your hand on your heart, and ask, if you knew you would be single for the rest of your life, what would you change about how you're living right now? What dreams would you pursue? What would you create? Share below. What would your sovereign life look like? She doesn't wait to be chosen. She chooses herself first. And that self-selection is the most attractive thing in the world. But perhaps the most unsettling quality of this woman is yet to come. The sixth way this woman disrupts everything is through her relationship with truth. She has stopped lying, not just to others, but to herself. She doesn't say, "I'm fine," when she's falling apart. She doesn't pretend to agree when she disagrees. She doesn't smile when she wants to scream. She has learned that her truth is sacred, that speaking it is an act of self-love. That authentic expression is more important than keeping the peace. Jung believed that neurosis comes from the unlived life, from the gap between who we are and who we're pretending to be. The truth speaker has closed that gap. She's learned to say, "I don't like that. I want something different. I need space. I'm angry. I'm scared. I'm magnificent." Simple truths that most people spend their lives avoiding. Carla discovered this power during therapy. For months, she practiced just telling the truth about small things, how she really felt about plans, what she actually wanted for dinner, whether she was tired or energized. "It sounds so simple," she said, "but it was revolutionary. I realized I'd been performing my entire life." As she got braver with her truth, everything changed. Her relationships became more authentic. Her work became more fulfilling. Her life started reflecting who she actually was instead of who she thought she should be. And men? Men didn't know what to do with her anymore. They couldn't manipulate someone who was honest about her feelings. They couldn't gaslight someone who trusted her own experience. They couldn't project fantasies onto someone who was so clearly herself. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, place your hand on your heart and ask, what truth have you been avoiding? What would you say if you knew you were completely safe to speak your reality? Share in the comments if you're ready. What truth wants to be spoken through you? She doesn't perform authenticity. She lives it. And that living truth is undeniable. The truth speaker's honesty creates a field of authenticity around her. In her presence, others start telling the truth too. And this leads to our final emergence. The seventh and most profound way this woman transforms everything around her is through how she loves. She has learned to love without losing herself. This is perhaps Jung's greatest teaching about the integrated feminine. She doesn't love from emptiness, seeking to be filled. She loves from fullness, choosing to share. Her love isn't desperate or clingy. or possessive. It's not conditional on being loved back. It's not performing or manipulating or trying to earn worthiness. It's the love of someone who has learned to love herself first, completely, unapologetically. Jung wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. The love alchemist has done this work. She's faced her own shadows, her own wounds, her own fears. She's learned that she cannot change anyone else, but she can transform herself. And from that transformation, a different kind of love emerges. Love that sees clearly. Love that holds space without fixing. Love that accepts without enabling." When Marcus met Catherine, he thought he knew what he was getting into. Another relationship where he could be charming and distant, where he could keep his walls up while enjoying the benefits of connection. But Catherine wasn't playing that game. She loved him, but she didn't need him. She supported him, but she didn't enable him. She was there for him, but she wouldn't disappear for him. "She loved me enough to let me be myself," he said later, "even when I wasn't very lovable. But she also loved herself enough not to tolerate my bullshit." The love alchemist understands that real love requires two whole people choosing each other, not two halves trying to become one. Take a moment. Breathe deeply. Place your hand on your heart. How would your relationships change if you loved from wholeness instead of emptiness? If you stopped trying to earn love and started sharing it? Tell us below. What would love look like if you were already complete? She doesn't chase love because she has learned to generate it from within. And that inner love, that's what makes her irresistible. And so we arrive at Jung's forbidden truth. The woman who scares men by simply existing isn't trying to be intimidating. She isn't playing games or wielding power over others. She has simply completed the hero's journey of becoming herself. She has faced her shadow and integrated it. She has learned to speak her truth and set her boundaries. She has discovered that she is already whole, already worthy, already complete. And in a world full of people desperately trying to be someone else, authenticity is the most disruptive force imaginable. This woman doesn't scare men because she's dangerous. She scares them because she's free. Free from the need to be liked by everyone. Free from the compulsion to be perfect. Free from the belief that her worth is determined by others. And that freedom calls to something deep in the masculine soul. Something that remembers what it's like to be whole. Something that yearns for partnership with an equal, not a project. But it also threatens the parts that are still hiding, still performing, still afraid to be seen. Jung believed that we don't find ourselves by looking outside for someone to complete us. We find ourselves by diving deep into our own souls and retrieving the lost pieces. The woman who has done this work becomes a mirror for everyone around her. In her presence, others remember who they really are beneath all their masks. And that remembering, that's either the beginning of transformation or the reason to run. She doesn't need saving. She doesn't need fixing. She doesn't need completion. She just needs to be witnessed in her wholeness. The choice is always ours. If you've felt the call of the integrated feminine, if you've sensed that there's more to you than the roles you've been playing, if you're ready to stop performing and start being, then this is your invitation. Your invitation to take off the mask, to face the shadow, to reclaim the self the world told you to forget. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. Place both hands on your heart. Feel the rhythm of your own life force. This is where your power lives. This is where your truth resides. In the comments below, complete this sentence. The woman I'm becoming is. Don't think too hard. Let it come from somewhere deeper than your mind. Let it come from the part of you that's been waiting to be seen. but make it a commitment. Make it a vow to yourself and to this community. Write in the comments, "I am becoming the woman who dares to live fully. Even if the world shakes, I will be myself." Share your truth. Witness others in theirs. Remember that healing happens in community, in the sacred space of being witnessed without judgment. You are not alone in this becoming. You never were. This is just the beginning of the conversation. Next week, we're diving even deeper into Jung's map of the feminine psyche. We'll explore the dark feminine, why nice girls finish last in love, the shadow work that transforms the people-pleaser into the sovereign woman. If you're ready to continue this journey of reclamation, of integration, of becoming who you truly are beneath all the conditioning, then subscribe now. This isn't just a psychology channel. It's a homecoming to your soul. The woman you're becoming is already here. She's been waiting in the depths, holding space for your return. It's time to let her emerge. Subscribe for new Jungian insights every week. A sanctuary for seekers of depth, not noise. Begin your journey inward. The woman who scares the world by simply existing is the woman the world needs most. She might just be you.